Have you ever sat down to do something important, something you actually wanted to finish, and then, 30 seconds later, found yourself washing dishes, reorganizing your desk, or watching a video about how submarines work? And the strangest part, the task wasn't even hard. You just couldn't start. If that sounds familiar, this video is about you. And here's the first thing you need to hear. You are not lazy. Procrastination has almost nothing to do with laziness. It's something much more interesting and much more human. So, what is procrastination really? Let's start with what it feels like from the inside. You have a task. You know it matters. You know that future you will suffer if it's not done. And still, some invisible force pushes your hand toward your phone, toward the fridge, toward literally anything else. Then comes the guilt. You tell yourself you're undisciplined, weak, broken. The deadline creeps closer, the anxiety grows, and the task becomes even scarier than before. So you avoid it even harder. It's a loop. Avoidance, relief, guilt, more avoidance. Now here's the key difference. Laziness is when you don't want to do anything and you feel fine about it. You're relaxed. You're at peace. Procrastination is completely different. You desperately want the task to be done. You feel awful about not doing it, and you often work very hard, just on the wrong things. A lazy person rests. A procrastinator suffers. If you've ever cleaned your entire apartment to avoid writing one email, you know exactly what I mean. That's not a lack of energy. That's energy running away from something. Running away from what, exactly? Here's the idea that changed how scientists see procrastination. Procrastination is not a time management problem. It's an emotion management problem. When you look at a task and feel boredom, anxiety, self-doubt, or frustration, your brain doesn't really see a task anymore. It sees a source of bad feelings, and your brain has one ancient, built-in reflex for sources of bad feelings. Get away from it. So, you don't avoid the task itself. You avoid the emotions sitting on top of the task. Putting it off is your brain's quick fix for your mood. And the cruel joke is, it works. For about 5 minutes. The moment you open a new browser tab instead of the report, you genuinely feel relief. Real, physical relief. Your brain learns, avoiding felt good, and the loop gets stronger. For example, imagine a cat. A brown cat sitting at a desk, staring at a laptop. He needs to write one report. That's it. One report. He touches the keyboard and suddenly feels a wave of heavy, foggy dread. So he decides to warm up with something small. First, he washes his food bowl, feels a little better. He notices the shelf is dusty. Can't work in a dusty room, right? He cleans the shelf, then the whole room. A gray cat walks by the window, and our cat watches him for 10 minutes. Then he checks his phone, just for a second. An hour disappears. By evening, the apartment is spotless. The bowl is shining, and the report has exactly 0 words in it. The cat lies flat on the floor like a pancake, exhausted from a full day of hard work, none of which was the work. And the report is still there, now with a bigger, darker cloud over it than in the morning. Sound familiar? So why does this happen? Why does a smart brain do something so obviously self-destructive? To understand it, you need to meet the 2 characters living inside your head. The first one is the limbic system, the ancient emotional part of the brain. It's fast, powerful, and it cares about one thing only: how you feel right now. Not tomorrow, not in an hour, now. The second character is the prefrontal cortex, the newest part of the brain sitting right behind your forehead. It's the one that makes plans, thinks about the future, and understands why the report matters. It's smart, but compared to the limbic system, it's slow and it gets tired easily. Every time you procrastinate, what's really happening is a tiny battle between these two. The prefrontal cortex says, "We should start now, future US needs this." The limbic system says, "That thing feels bad, phone feels good, phone, now." And in a head-to-head fight, especially when you're tired, stressed, or sleep-deprived, the ancient system usually wins. Not because you're weak, because it's literally older, faster, and wired deeper. There's a second mechanism working against you, and it has a beautiful name: temporal discounting. In simple words, your brain treats future rewards like they're on a massive discount. A reward you'll get in a month feels tiny and pale. A reward you can get in 10 seconds feels huge and bright. Finishing your project next Friday? The brain shrugs. A funny video right now? The brain lights up like a casino. It's not a personal flaw. It's how human brains are built. For thousands of years, our ancestors survived by grabbing what was in front of them. Eat now, plan later was a winning strategy for most of history. The problem is, your ancient brain is now living in a world of deadlines, long-term projects, and pension plans, things it was never designed for. To your limbic system, a deadline 3 weeks away might as well not exist. And there's a third layer, maybe the most painful one. Psychologist Timothy Seikl, who spent decades studying procrastination, found that we procrastinate most on tasks that touch our sense of self. Tasks that can be judged, tasks where failure would mean something about us. Writing, creating, applying, asking, anything where the result has your name on it. Because here's the secret deal your brain offers you. If you never really start, you can never really fail. If you write the essay at 3 a.m. the night before, and it turns out mediocre, well, of course it did. You wrote it in one night. Your ego stays protected. Researchers call this self-handicapping, quietly sabotaging yourself so you always have an excuse ready. It feels like comfort. It's actually a cage, and it gets one level deeper. Researcher Fushia Siroa showed that chronic procrastination is strongly linked to how we talk to ourselves afterwards. Here's the trap. You procrastinate, then you feel guilt and shame. Then you call yourself lazy and broken. And those bad feelings are exactly the kind of emotions your brain wants to escape from. So, what does it do? It procrastinates again to escape the shame of procrastinating. You're not stuck because you don't criticize yourself enough. You're stuck because you criticize yourself too much. Studies found something almost funny. Students who forgave themselves for procrastinating on one exam procrastinated less on the next one. Forgiveness worked better than punishment. Self-compassion isn't a soft luxury here. It's a mechanical fix for the loop. So let's put the whole machine together. A task carries uncomfortable emotions. Your ancient brain flinches away from them and grabs the nearest quick pleasure instead, because the future feels fake and the present feels real. Avoiding brings instant relief, which trains the brain to avoid again. Then shame arrives, makes everything feel worse, and feeds the next round of avoidance. That's it. That's the entire engine of procrastination. Notice what's not in there. Laziness, weakness, bad character. It's just an emotional system doing exactly what it was built to do, in a world it wasn't built for. Okay, so what do you actually do about it? No magic, but here are things that genuinely work, because they target the real mechanism, the emotions, not the schedule. First, shrink the start until it stops being scary. Your brain isn't afraid of the whole project. It's afraid of the blurry, heavy feeling of starting. So make the first step laughably small. Not write the report. Open the document and write one ugly sentence. Not start running. Put on your shoes and step outside. The rule is the first step should be so small that it feels almost stupid to refuse. Here's the trick. Starting is the hardest part chemically. Once you're 2 minutes in, the task usually loses most of its scariness, and momentum carries you. There's even a name for the fact that unfinished tasks keep buzzing in your memory, the Zeigarnik effect. Once you start, your brain actually wants to close the loop. Second, expect the discomfort and let it be there. The goal was never to feel good before starting. That day may never come. The goal is to start while feeling meh, anxious, or bored, and let the feelings ride along. Try naming what you feel when you look at the task. I'm avoiding this because I'm scared it won't be good. Just naming the emotion, psychologists call it affect labeling, measurably turns down the alarm in the emotional brain. You're not fighting the feeling anymore. You're just not letting it drive. And third, fire the inner drill sergeant. Hire a coach. When you slip, and you will, everyone does. The words you say to yourself next decide the whole next round. I'm hopeless feeds the shame engine and guarantees another escape. Okay, that happened. It's human. What's one small thing I can do now? Breaks the loop. Remember the exam study. Self-forgiveness reduced procrastination. Talk to yourself like you'd talk to a friend who's struggling, because scientifically, that's what actually works. And one honest note, if avoidance has swallowed months of your life, if it comes with constant heaviness, exhaustion, or emptiness, sometimes chronic procrastination is a symptom of depression, anxiety, or ADHD. Talking to a specialist about it isn't weakness and isn't overreacting. It's a completely normal, smart step, like going to a doctor for a knee that's hurt for a year. So, the next time you catch yourself cleaning the apartment instead of writing the email, don't say, "I'm so lazy." Say, my ancient brain is protecting me from a feeling. Then take one ridiculous tiny step into the task and let the feeling come along for the ride. You were never lazy. You were human. And human is fixable, one small, ugly first sentence at a time.